Hello, everybody. My name is Tucker, and welcome back to our Russian fishing for float fishing journey. This time, not muted. I kicked this off a second ago and then realized I was muted because my software wasn't working right. The software I used to control my mouse buttons wasn't quite working, so you may notice something different. We do have two ultralight rods now. So today, I did buy a second ultralight rod, exact same one we had. Exact same line. I did buy a couple of new small floats just because we had destroyed we lost the other ones. So I grabbed the nice fish. Aiming for bleak here, I guess I should say that. That's kind of the goal here, is aiming for bleak. A nice white bream. So I did grab this silver shot or silver stick 2 gram. I've got bloodworms on one rod here. Then on the other rod, I've got a fly, which are usually bleak's favorite. Both those have a 24 hook. And then over here on the bottom rod, I have set up to hopefully get some rough. Really, the bottom rod's there right now just to let me know when the rough come in, if the rough come into the area. Dang it, missed it. Definitely not familiar enough with the silver stick to know when it's actually indicating a bite. But I do want to get a little bit more used to those because depending on how the next phase of our career goes, we go match rods, we'll definitely want those. Nice bleak. If we go more bigger telesticks, we don't necessarily need those. Still not decided on kind of the next phase. The next phase will be getting bigger, badder rods, not more ultralight rods. So probably looking at 14, 15, 20 kilo rods, which are a couple thousand each and kind of requires higher levels. I think when I was looking earlier, the rods that kind of made sense to me were level 24 rods. So we got a little ways to go, but that makes sense. Another good bleak. Both of these are at a depth of 17 centimeters right now, basically as shallow as they can go. I will probably move them over and go deep, aiming for rough over here in a little bit. It's about 8 o'clock in the evening on Monday the 19th for me. And I just got a good heavy dog size. He's getting ready to take a nap on my lap, I think. Let's go ahead and move one of these over here. I think 1 meter's possible here, if I remember correctly. We have fished here many, many times. One meter's good. Bleak are more of a daytime fish than a nighttime fish. Rough are more of a nighttime fish than a daytime fish. Good news is both of them use the same size hooks. Better news is I can relocate. Oh, come on. There's a fish on there. I was going to say better news is I can relocate my rod, so it's now 1, 2, 3, not 3, 1, 2. As far as the Christmas fair update goes, I have not seen anything yet. Typically, those type of changes do happen on Tuesdays, so a little bit surprised. Today they did the devs posted a picture about COD for the new saltwater maps. Some people believe that's also coming out tomorrow. I would expect they would have put some more announcements out if that was the case. There's no announcement of maintenance happening, so I would be surprised if a new water body gets released. The Christmas fair wouldn't surprise me because they shouldn't have to change anything from what they've already done. Nice Bream here, I think. Yep. The Christmas fair is not new. It's something they've done. I've got a character from 3 years ago that still has stuff I bought at the Christmas fair back then. I'm sure that food's good still. Just like I'm sure the 3-year-old chunks of fish are good too. There's got to be a fish on here. Nope. Huh, I've tightened it up 3 times. Interesting that we're getting Bream on redworm here. And small hooks. There were 2 bleak orders here and a rough order. That's why we're fishing the way we are. Yeah. Someone may have just kicked my hand. Yeah, you. He looked over at me as soon as I said that. That was a decent rough. Looks like an okay Bream here. Bream aren't really what I was aiming for here, so it's a bit on the scary side. Luckily, I seriously doubt we're going to get big Bream. Someone's going on an explore of the living room. Come on, fish. I know we are getting up on the holiday season. If anyone is going to be traveling, especially if you're in the United States, keep an eye out on the weather. Things are looking like it may be an interesting Christmas travel season. Where I live, they're talking really bad snow Thursday and Friday and wind chills in the negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit and normal temperatures in the negative 5 to 10 range. So it's going to be an interesting few days coming up. If you are traveling, please be safe. Want to see you come back. Gotcha. That's a bigger fish than I want. I'm starting to think my rough spots dried up. Marker Bream on ultralight, not bad. Not what I want though. Bring this a little bit closer to the shore here. Come on, roughy roughs. There we go. Not bad. A lot of Bream. It's interesting. Speaking of a lot of Bream, big white Bream. It's a nice fish. That will probably be an ultralight weekly. Maybe even a normal weekly right now. It is Monday. Another big white Bream. Those two fish should give me some decent money. And that's the good part about fishing these smaller fish is, what is that? 74 gram tiny bream. With them being a little bit rarer, they tend to be worth a decent amount. We'll probably be doing a lot of dace and nace and bleak, gudgeon fishing for a while. There's a couple of good day spots on Volkov right now, but Volkov's level 20, so we got a ways to go before we'll be there. I shouldn't have woken him up to let him outside before the episode. Dog's wandering around crazy now. I just figured if I needed to go outside, the dog probably did too. Wrong rod. So this is another bream or white bream. They're good white bream. Here's the weekly. All right, we got water body record ultralight white bream. Weekly record white bream. Weekly record ultralight bream. Weekly record ultralight white bream. So the white bream we caught ultralight was one of the biggest ever caught in the US on this lake. Not bad. Now it is Monday, so I expect some of those records will fall before Sunday. I'm already happy today, though, with that ultralight bream and then the water body bream, or water body white bream. Those are always fun to see. And fishing at some of these earlier lakes, it wouldn't surprise me, depending on what you're going for. Bleak at winding, a lot of high level players fish winding for bleak, for bait fish. So a lot of them are probably using ultralight rods. Probably switch back over to bleak here in a few for these rods, and then I'm trying to decide what I want to do with the third rod. Do I want to pull out another telestick, or do I want to throw like a roach rod in? Aim for roach with the bottom rod is what I'm thinking. Probably makes sense. Another small bream. Dog dropping his ball down the stairs. Uh-oh. Okay, good. Another good white bream. Ah, it was too late. Oh, let's go for some roaches. Small bream. Another small bream. I forgot to change the depth. Switching over to go back for bleak in their topwater fish, not bottom water fish, so. It's a decent perch on a bloodworm. Nope, too early. What do we have here? This is a bleak, like I was hoping for. Obviously something over on the bottom rod. And got the dog to hop up and lay down. Good. Another good bleak. Bream on roach bait. Pro barley is a bream bait too, but on roach ground bait. Good quantity of fish, and I think pretty good quality as well. Although we did get a lot of small bream, which were not really what we were aiming for, but somewhat expected at Mosquito. Another perch. No, sleeper. Nice. More money than a perch. Marker bleak. I do have more of the slims for rod 2 if I want to switch over the same float that I've got on rod 1 here. I just wanted to get a little used to a different style of float in case I do go match rods. So match rods are carp rods, mainly carp rods, but they're basically a big bolo rod. And because of that, they have a special float called a waggler. And I have not used match rods before, so kind of interested too, but I'm also kind of interested in doing telestick fishing for big fish. I will say that the float fishing percentage on this character is higher than my level 30 character. 31, maybe even 32 character at this point. I know I'm 31. I can't remember if I got to 32 or not. So I've been learning float somewhat along with y'all here. Although honestly, float and bottom fishing are not all that dissimilar. And especially the way I tended to do bottom fishing without ground bait quite a bit. Now it's too late. Wind has really picked up. 4.8 meters per second. That's one of the good parts about the float on rod 2 is it's less likely to get blown around because there's not as much mass or not as much surface area to blow. Come on, we need some more bleak. I don't want any perch. "31 minutes in, 33 fish in the bag. Catch net, whatever." You all knew what I meant. There we go. Nice bleak. 698 at me talk good today. 698 XP too. Small bleak, not a marker. Gotcha. Yep, that's what I want on a size 1 hook. 125 gram Bream. Need to change the clip on that with where I'm casting. I'm just curious, what trophies are we missing here? Frog, perch, rough, and eyed. Speaking of frog, whew. There's a Kermit. Not a good one, but a Kermit. Did not expect that one. That just shows how hard a frog can pull. Because these are 2 kilo rods. And that frog was 33 grams. And it put a definite strain on it. I actually thought that was going to be a much bigger frog than it turned out to be. I was pretty disappointed. Yeah, weekly record ultralight frog. Probably one of less than 5 caught. That wasn't even a marker frog. Non-marker bleak. Another bleak. There was a marker order and a non-marker order, so I'm happy to get both. That's another frog, and I think it slipped off. Yeah, it did. It was me seeing the line getting blown in the wind and thinking it was a bite. It's too late there. Sleeper? Yep. Tiny sleeper. Uh, Jumped the gun, plus I didn't put away the shovel. So I thought I was late. Can hear the neighbor's dog going crazy. And one across the street, so I guess someone's probably out walking a dog before it gets too bad. We were actually supposed to have snow this morning. I didn't see any. A 92% chance of snow. And then around lunchtime, we had kind of drizzly, misty rain. which luckily didn't freeze because we were below freezing. The last report I saw from the National Weather Service for us is 3 to 6 inches of snow on Thursday, which for my area, we get that much about once a year. Get a lot of little 1 inch, 2 inch type things. But we're also kind of right where the jet stream is supposed to go, so we're going to get somewhere between a trace and a foot and a half. They don't know how much right now. Gotcha. That's a good bleak. Not as good as I thought. That's the hard part when you're looking at a 30-gram fish and a 100 and something gram fish as being a trophy. They both look about the same. Tomorrow, I think we'll either go over to Belaya or Oldberg. Leaning towards Belaya. What are you? Are you a frog? Or are you a perch? You're a perch. Dang it. I am out of bloodworm. Or, yeah, bloodworm. Another marker bleak. If I look at Oldberg, frog is really the only thing we could get. We got no trophies over at Belaya, so I may go over to Belaya and have some fun. Go for Dace and Bleak. Rough. Need to make sure I've got casters if I'm going over there. Although I think they actually sell casters at Belaya. Not in the big pack. Although we got some silver left over. Ah. Greedy Tucker got greedy. Gotcha. Good bleak. Marker bleak. Come on, fishy fishes. It's kind of a warm period right now. 19 degrees. All right, let's try away from the bridge. Chinese food for dinner was tasty, but not so much the second time. Just had a little belch that wish I didn't. My favorite mom and pop Chinese food restaurant, the mom from it knew me by name. I could call in and order, literally just say, "This is Tucker." And she's like, "Okay, I'll have it ready for you in 15 minutes." And they recently retired and sold the restaurant. And it's not quite as good as it used to be, unfortunately. And the Asian mom was your typical Asian lady that probably grew up over in China, spoke enough English, but definitely spoke Chinese as her primary language. So everything was a little bit broken English. There was a couple times she would actually be in the back cooking and would come out when I'd come to pick it up just to say hello. And one time they dropped the order, bringing it out of the kitchen to me. And so they had to cook it a second time, and I was sitting there waiting. And they knew I had my previous dog in the truck with me. So they ended up giving him, I can't remember what they gave him, but I think a couple of pieces of like beef or something that they fried up for him for being a good boy. My favorite one was there's a really good outdoor hot dog stand. And my old dog, one time, my neighbor, my older neighbor, moved out now. Used to be he'd go to bed at now, at 9, wake up at 3 a.m. And there was one time there was his gate opened at 3 a.m. And my previous dog woke up, went over to the window. I leave the blinds rolled up just enough that he can, and still do to this day. Uh, excuse me. look out the window. And the dog realized it wasn't my neighbor out in his yard at 3 a.m. It was some kids walking through my neighbor's backyard. There's a street that kind of ends into my neighbor's backyard. Some idiot kids were just walking through, doing what kids do. And my dog announced to the world that there were people in the backyard that shouldn't have. And multiple neighbors came outside at 3 in the morning because that dog had never barked. And he gave an angry bark that scared people. So I took him over to the hot dog stand for food that day. And when I told the hot dog stand people what had happened, they ended up making him a hot dog with a bunch of bacon on it. He was one happy dog. They had a little outdoor picnic table I could sit at. They had an indoor seating area too, and it was a little bit cold. It was November time frame. When I went to sit out on the picnic table, they're like, "It's cold out there. Why are you doing that?" I'm like, "Well, one of them's for my dog, and it's because of this." And like, "Oh, so he's a good boy." And it was a place I went multiple times. I would actually help out there a couple times when there were some idiots hassling the people that ran it. Ended up helping escort some people out of the establishment one time. Because I'm not exactly a small dude. When I went up and was had a bunch of glass windows, and the actual cooking part was outside. It's basically a trailer that they could drag around and would a lot of times on weekends take it to parks and places like that. Um, Walked over to the windows and just knocked on the window to let the guy cooking know that there was a problem inside. His wife ran the inside. He ran the grill. And but when I knocked on the windows, he knew there was a problem. And when I picked someone up and threw him outside, he didn't question. He didn't even know what happened. He just supported me and then found out from his wife what they were saying, because they were saying some very inappropriate things. And never do that, people. If you don't agree with someone, if you don't agree with their food, just leave. That I physically escorted them outside of the establishment. And they ended up calling the cops. And luckily, they had video of what was going on. And the cops are like, "Okay, well, we could probably take Tucker for assault, but we could also take you for about 3 different things to jail. Do you really want to press charges?" And the guys I threw out decided they did not want to press charges because they did not want to go to jail themselves. For probably longer than I would have. Because they had trespassing and a couple of different things because they'd been told to leave 4 times and laid a hand on the lady running the house or running the restaurant, which you don't, the way they were doing it, you didn't. So they would not have had a good time. Here's a good bleak, I think. Yep, another 500 XP. 55 minutes in, 55 fish in the bank. Fetch net, whatever. Bit of a rambly episode. But I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. It's a good time. It's kind of switching from daytime to nighttime. Did I put my bottom rod away? I did. Oh, I ran out of ground bait on it. That's why. I remember that now. I was just looking for something that wasn't there. Dig some woodworms. Grab our food. We're probably right around 85, 90 silver. Or 47. Ouch. That was not as good as I thought. I only got 3 of the 6 needed for big ones, but for small ones, we'll sell 5 worthless ones. Got the frog as well. Only got 4 perch. We did get 5 white bream, but are they worth more at the fish market? Doubt it, but I gotta check. 21 at the fish market here, and it was 29, I think, over here. Yeah, 28, so it is better to sell them here. No mirror carp, no crucians. Got 3, I think I already checked that, 3 big leaks and 1 roach, so not too bad. I mean, 28, 48, 50 silver there, 75 total, so not a horrible day for getting used to some new things, and also it's still fishing at Mosquito, so not a bad day. Like I said, probably tomorrow go over to, I think, Belaya, do some days fishing unless something better pops up. But appreciate everybody watching. We'll be back again tomorrow. Hope you all have good tight lines, and we'll see you then. Bye bye now.